What's up, everybody? It is your girl, Jab Queen Boxing, and today is Thursday. So, you know what that means. It is Throwback Thursday, baby. Boxing style. Better yet, Jab Queen Boxing style. And today we will be featuring none other than Wilfred El Radar Benitez. Wilfred Benitez boxed from 1973 to 1990 in an orthodox stance. Oh, baby, he was known for that defense, his anticipation of punches, and that skillful head movement, holding a record of 53 8-1. Now, 32 of those 53 wins came by way of knockout. I mean, this young man got in there with some of the baddest in the game at that time. And we're going to talk about some of those too. I mean, he went up against guys like Roberto Duran and Thomas Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, just to name a few. But as usual, we got to take it back to the beginning to see how he became a force to be reckoned with. Wilfred Benitez, managed by his father, Gregorio Benitez, started his pro career at 15 years old. After 123 amateur wins and only 6 losses, he made his pro debut in 1973 against Hiram Santiago, in which he defeated by first round KO. Then he faced Jesse Torres, defeating him in the second round. I mean, this was an important step in the right direction for Benitez. He continued to win too against several others for years, against names like Roberto Flanders, Carlos Crispin, Francisco Rodriguez, Chris Fernandez, climbing his way up, building his resume for his very first light welterweight title shot against Antonio Cervantes in 1976. Did I mention he was only 17 years old? I mean, this was unheard of. His classmates from school were in attendance, providing support. Now, in this fight, Benitez being so young, Cervantes was obviously the 4-1 favorite. It was his 10th title defense. So, naturally, round one was kind of a filler round. Neither of them threw many punches. But by round two, things started to heat up. Benitez started showcasing that exceptional speed. Defense was on point. He was powerful. He had that footwork and that jab working. He started tagging for Sentes too, upstairs, downstairs, evening out the fight, which worked in his favor. Benitez won by split decision. Scorecards read 148 to 144, 147 to 142, and 145 to 147, making Benitez the youngest world champion in boxing history to capture the WBA super light welterweight title. Now, when I say this boy was no joke, I mean that. Y'all know heavy is the head that wears the crown, and with the strap, it's always somebody trying to take it from you. Well, tell them to bring their ass. He had to defend that title, baby, beating guys like Emiliano Villa, retaining his title, Tony Petronali, retaining that title. Now, in 1977 is where things got interesting. He went up against Harold Weston for the first time because they ended up fighting twice. But in this first fight, Benitez was kind of showboating and clowning around. And his father, also his trainer at the time, Gregorio, really didn't care for all the goofy mess. He was so frustrated that he ended up slapping Benitez between rounds. Now, some say the slap is kind of what led to new management. But prior to this fight, right, Benitez was undefeated. Okay, the fight was ruled a draw, Two judges scored it even, and only one had the fight for Benitez. This was a notable blemish on his otherwise spotless record at the time. Now, after his draw with Harold Weston, he went up against guys like Melvin Dennis, Roberto Gonzalez, Easy Bay Lake, Ray Guerrero, beating them all. Then he got to Bruce Curry, and things got a little interesting. Bruce Curry, their first fight, because they fought twice. Benitez used his jab, baby, them hooks and right hand to keep Curry off balance. Now, this was a tough fight for Benitez. Curry knocked Benitez down, I believe it was 2 or 3 times. The first time in the fourth round with a hook, then again with the barrage of punches, and once more early in the fifth round. Despite the knockdowns, Benitez managed to survive the rounds, ultimately win the fight in a controversial split decision. But these two, they will definitely meet again. And because this win was so controversial, Benitez spun the block baby in 1978, rematching Bruce Curry and winning a 10th round majority decision. After his rematch with Bruce Curry and making it crystal clear who the winner was, he went on to fight Randy Shields, Vernon Lewis. In 1979, he even rematched Harold Weston. Now, this rematch was a WBC title defense, baby, in which he won by unanimous decision in round 15. Now, originally in 1977, when they fought, I thought his father slapped him then, but it turns out it was this fight. For playing around and showboating during the fight, his father was frustrated. But in the end, Benitez pulled it off, baby. After rematching Weston, he went on to fight Sugar Ray Leonard. This was a title defense of the WBC welterweight champion. In 1979? This fight was a tactical duo between two highly skilled boxers. Leonard scored a knockdown with a left hook in round 3. Rounds 9 through 11, Leonard landed several flurries, knocking Benitez's mouthpiece loose. And in round 15, Leonard knocked Benitez down with an uppercut. Now, he did get back up, but the ref stopped the fight. Some say it was premature, but the ref made the call based on Benitez's condition. He just didn't seem fit to continue, making this Benitez's first career loss after 38 straight wins. After such a devastating loss, he went on to fight Johnny Turner, Tony Schiavone, Pete Rancy, Maurice Hope, and then in 1981, he went up against Carlos Santos. Now, this was a world champion fight between two Puerto Ricans, also mandated title defense of Benitez's WBC super welterweight belt. Now, he was going up against an undefeated and then ranked number one contender. This wasn't any regular title defense. I mean, Santos was a talented guy and a bad mother effer in his own right. But ultimately, Benitez pulled off the victory, baby. He won by unanimous decision. I believe those scorecards were 145, 139, 147, 138, and 145 to 140. Benitez retained his WBC strap. Now, in 1981, Benitez went up against Roberto Duran to defend his WBC light middleweight title. Now, he controlled this fight with that superior defense, which neutralized Duran's aggressive attack. But now, Duran, he came out strong, honey, even won the first 2 rounds. So the judges thought. But Benitez had that superior jab going, started working that body, and took over that fight. By the later rounds, Duran was tired, child, just tired. Benitez pressed the gas, landing effective punches, securing that unanimous victory too. 144 to 141, 145 to 141, and 143 to 142. Now, of course, later Duran was saying, he ain't trained for the fight properly, all of that dead jazz. But the bottom line is the victor was Benitez. Now, later that year, he also went up against a hard-hitting Tommy the Hitman Hearns, who was moving up in weight, challenging Benitez for his WBC Super Welterweight Championship. Now, obviously, we know that Tommy the Hitman Hearns is punching, right? He suffered a hand injury in the 8th round, which forced him to fight with only one hand left, which he was able to do. He outboxed the defensive-minded Benitez, winning his WBC title, making Hearns a two-time world champion. He went on to fight for several years after that, winning some and losing some, until his final fight in September of 1990 against Scott Papadosora, which unfortunately he also lost. Retiring from the sport, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. After retiring from boxing, Wilfred Benitez, his life took a difficult turn. His earnings had been mismanaged or flat out stolen. He returned to Puerto Rico with his earnings depleted. He relied on a small pension from the WBC and the support of his family. His health deteriorated due to dementia polixia, which is a condition common amongst boxers. His mother was a licensed nurse, and initially she cared for him at home, but eventually he required additional care and was moved to a public nursing home in 1997. After his mother passed, which was shortly after moving him to a nursing home, his sister, Yvonne Benitez, took over his care and relocated him to Chicago for better health care after Hurricane Maria. Despite his boxing accomplishments, his post-retirement life has become a painful reminder of the physical and financial hardships boxers can face. So I wish Yvonne Benitez and the entire Benitez family the best of luck and will keep them in my prayers. Thank you, Wilfred, for the time you spent in that ring. Well, that concludes this week's episode of Throwback Thursday, guys. As usual, if you guys have someone you would like me to highlight specifically, then drop it in the comment section and I'll do my research and they can be next, or I can go back to my list and they can be put on the list. It's completely up to you. I will be live tonight at 5:30, so you guys make sure you pull up and show your girl some love. Also, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are not already subscribed. Until next time, guys, y'all know what to do. Catch me on a panel.